and welcome to Antique Operating Systems 101, the video podcast where we dive deep into the history of computing. I am your host, Kepri DVG, and today we are taking a trip back to the early 80s to explore two fundamental pieces of software, MS-DOS 2.0 and Windows 1.0. These might sound ancient to some, but their impact on the personal computing world is still felt today. Let's start with MS-DOS 2.0, which was released by Microsoft in 1983. Now, for those unfamiliar, DOS stands for Disk Operating System and was the primary operating system for IBM PC-compatible computers for many years. Think of it as the command center for your computer, but instead of a fancy graphical interface, you typed in commands. MS-DOS 2.0 was a significant leap forward from its predecessors. It introduced support for hard drives, which was a huge deal at the time. Before this, most computers relied on floppy disks. Imagine having to swap disks constantly just to run different programs or access your files. Hard drive support meant more storage and faster access, truly revolutionizing how people used their PCs. It also brought with it a hierarchical file system, which allowed directories and subdirectories. This meant you could organize your files in a much more logical way, like folders within folders, rather than just having a flat list of everything. This structure is something we still use today in every modern operating system. Another key feature was support for installable device drivers. This meant that hardware manufacturers could write their own software to allow their devices, like printers or scanners, to work with DOS. This open approach really fostered innovation in hardware development. Now, while MS-DOS was powerful, it wasn't exactly user-friendly. You had to remember specific commands to do anything. CD to change directory, dir to list files, copy to copy files. It was all text-based, a stark contrast to our colorful, icon-driven world we live in now. This brings us to our second topic, Windows 1.0. Released in November of 1985, Windows 1.0 was Microsoft's first attempt at a graphical user interface, or GUI, for the PC. The idea was to make computers easier to use by replacing text commands with visual elements like windows, icons, and menus. Interestingly, Windows 1.0 wasn't a standalone operating system like MS-DOS. It actually ran on top of MS-DOS. So you'd still boot into DOS, and then you'd type win, W-I-N, to launch Windows. It was more of an operating environment than a full operating system. The visual aesthetics of Windows 1.0 was quite basic by today's standards. It featured tiled windows, meaning they couldn't overlap, which limited how you could arrange your workspace. You had applications like Calendar, Notepad, Calculator, and the infamous Reversi game. These were simple programs, but they demonstrated the potential of a graphical interface. While it might seem primitive now, Windows 1.0 was a bold step. It laid the groundwork for all future versions of Windows. It introduced concepts like drop-down menus, scroll bars, and dialog boxes that are now ubiquitous in software design. So, what was the relationship between these two, you ask? Well, MS-DOS 2.0 provided the robust underlying system, a file management, the hardware support, and Windows 1.0 was the friendly face on top, attempting to make that power accessible to a wider audience. MS-DOS was the engine, and Windows was the dashboard. Neither of these were overnight successes in their earliest forms, but they were absolutely crucial building blocks. MS-DOS continued to evolve, and Windows, despite a somewhat slow start, eventually dominated the personal computing landscape. Without MS-DOS 2.0, Windows 1.0 wouldn't have had a stable platform to build upon. And without Windows 1.0, the idea of a user-friendly graphical interface for PCs might have taken a very different path. They represented a pivotal moment in computing history, the transition from purely command line interactions to the beginnings of the graphical world we inhabit today. Alright everybody, now that we've gone through all the information on MS-DOS 2.0 and Windows 1.1, I was going to show you how to install it in your own VM that you could play with it. Problems are that, one, I have not been able to find a working copy of MS-DOS 2.0. None of them that I found actually work. They actually do anything. So I had to use MS-DOS 3.0 to get Windows 1.0 on a VM. Problem number two is there is an extremely convoluted way of having to install Windows 1.0 so that you actually have the ability to use the mouse in it. And no way around it. You basically have to take the mouse driver from the Windows 2.0 install, copy it over onto the disk image of the Windows 1.0 install, which is a whole not fun process, especially for somebody that's not very tech savvy. So instead of showing you how to install the VM, I'm just going to go into the VM that I got installed and give you kind of a quick tour of Windows 1.0. And that in future videos, like when we get to Windows 2.0, there is no issue with the install or any of that stuff. So I will be able to show you step by step how to set up your own VM with Windows 2.0. Same thing with Windows 3.1, which will be the Windows 3 version I will show you, and so on. But in the case of Windows 1.0, it took me hours to figure out how to get it to work to a point where I can hop into it, show you guys actually around instead of you just seeing the pictures I splashed up on the screen and listen to me drone on about the information about it. So the VM software I am using is Oracle VirtualBox. It's 100% free. You head on over to Google and you can search for Oracle VirtualBox or just VirtualBox. You can download a copy of it for yourself. And then you can install a whole wide variety of VMs of Linux, Windows, DOS, as I'll show you. And that it works just like you're doing a regular PC, but instead of having multiple PCs like I do, you can have them all condensed onto one PC. They can share resources. You can tell it to map, USBs for printers, share network drives, and what have you. So it's a really great way if you want to run Linux on stuff, but still have some Windows operations and programs you need to do. You can run a Windows VM that is, in the background in that. So what I'm going to do here is, you see I've got a Windows ME, which is my personal use ME VM. And then I've got a Windows 3.0 and Windows 1.0 VM right here. That's the one we're going to fire up. And it's going to take it a second. And the copy of DOS 3.0 I have on here is not like a full copy. Trying to make the screen a little bit bigger for you guys to see, but so it's going to prompt for date and current time. And that. And then we can use some of the nifty commands that we learned earlier in the video. EIR to show the directory. Shows you the list, and of course the list goes up off the screen of the different directories you have in here. And what I want to do is go to we want to change to the C drive. Directory again. And you'll see we have a Windows directory right here. So we want to CD Windows. And if we do directory again, we get a whole long list of stuff. Now, if you remember from the video, there's only one command we need to run to get into Windows 1.0. And that is win, W-I-N. And as long as everything goes well, as soon as I hit the enter key, we should boot into Windows 1.0. Granted, back in the day, things did not load that quickly. That was like an instantaneous load. Back in 1985, you would have grinding noises of the hard drive, and the floppy disks, as it thought, did things. You're most likely running off of a 8086 processor, base processor. So it wouldn't take forever, but it wouldn't be the instantaneous that we just got into it in. But let's see, can I make this? I don't think I can make it any. That did not help. Let's see, back out. All right. So, like I was saying in the video, Windows 1.1 isn't technically an operating system, it's an operating environment. MS-DOS is still the background operating system of it. So here you've got what you could attribute to your start menu of programs. And that you've got, like here's your let's see, calc.exe is your calculator. Works just like your modern day Windows calculator. So if we do 5 times 4, get your answer of 20. And that. And then say you need to use a Word document or a notepad. You got your little disk here, you double click on it. And then notice it split screens the MS-DOS executive and the calculator. This is what I was saying about tiled windows. You can't overlap them. You know, you can drag to move that to the top, drag it, move to the bottom. Not all you can do. So now let's open the clock feature. And now we've got our clock, which opens on top of. You can also go side to side. I was trying to open multiple things. There you go. So you see, as we open things, our screen space of the applications, whatever you want to call them, gets smaller and smaller. We still got the calculator open. We now have our calendar open. We have the clock open. Now, if we want to say close the clock, you have to click and hold and go to close. Same thing with the calendar. You click, hold, click, hold, and then we're back to the MS-DOS executive. So here is Notepad, which looks identical, functions identical as the modern day Notepad. You know, you can write your thing, go file, new, open, save. So let's do the standard hello world text document. We're going to go file, save as. We're going to name it hello world. It's also saving it in the only spot you can save it is in the Windows directory, C Windows. And this is why I was talking, or will be talking when we get into Windows 2.0 and forward. Things that change is now instead of, do we have to add .text? Be one word. Not a valid file name. Huh. Okay, so we can't save it. Oops, or so we just do file save. Oh, I wonder. Oops. Nope. Okay. We can't save our file. I'm probably doing something wrong. No. But if we were able to save it, yeah, the extension's .txt. abc.txt, this, so, we've got, if we were able to save it, and that it would show up here in this pile of mix of your files and the programs. So you can see how that can get messy if you've got multiple files, multiple programs, stuff like that, where you'd have to hunt, spooler.exe, there's your printer. If you had a printer attached to print, that's what would set up the printer. Notepad. You got Paint. Very rudimentary Paint. It's still, I'm not good at typing, but you can draw things in Paint. I doubt we're going to be able to save this, but let's just save it as picture. Oh, it let us save picture. Now if we close out of it and we search art, there it is. There's our picture. So that's a better showing of how it just continually populates things in the same directory, which can get extremely messy the more you use it. Write is like, I guess, the precursor to Microsoft Word. It's a different word process. It's got more features. You can justify left, right, center your text. You can add a header and footer to the text. Options for special characters, bold, italic, all that stuff. All the stuff you can't normally do in Notepad. Let's see if this will save. That's right, I got caps lock on. File, save. Maybe it doesn't let us save it as Hello World. I'm going to save it as Hello World 1. Save. Alright. Call it Document 1. Ah. So Paint let me save, but none of the word processes let me save. Interesting. But, so let's see, what do we go through? We did the clock. Control panel lets you change your time, how fast the cursor blinks, your date, how slow or fast you double click. You can add printer, add a new font, delete a font, set up your communication port, change your screen colors and mouse. So change the screen colors. It lets you change, like our background is this green color. Now you can change the text background, scroll bar color, so it gives you the customization to make it your own, in a sense. Not like what we have today with modern Windows. Alright, so we gotta cancel. As you can see, it's kind of clumsy to navigate as well. We went through Notepad, we went through Paint. Practice doc. Well, that opens up in the right, so yeah, I don't know. I don't know why. I'd have to play with it a little bit more to figure out why. Here's the controversial Reversi game. I don't remember exactly what made it controversial, but you know, basic, your first game on Windows. It was the only game included on Windows 1.0. Terminal, I guess. I don't know why you'd have a terminal. That might be for serial communication, actually. But yeah, in a nutshell, that is Windows 1.0. And when you're done, you go to, well, you also got File View and Special here. File, you can run stuff, load stuff, delete items, view, short, long. I think that's the list length. You can sort by name. You can sort out programs, partials. You can create a directory, change a directory, format a data disk, and then if you do end session, you'll get the prompt you want to end your Windows session. Kicks you back out to DOS. And if we run that command, we are running this compact personal computer MS-DOS version 3.0. So DOS 3.0. And that is Windows 1.0 in a quick nutshell, to kind of add to the information you received early in the slideshow. Hopefully you enjoyed this walkthrough, or tour, I should say, of Windows 1.0, and hopefully you enjoyed the video. So I will see you in the next one. That's all for this episode of Antique Operating Systems 101. Join us next time as we delve into another fascinating piece of computing history. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a review if you enjoyed this journey back in time.